What Peter Cetera said about Chicago after he left the band on Rock History Book. This is a very interesting interview done by my colleague Steve Burgess, who basically quite a few years ago handed me all his interviews and said, maybe you can do something with this. Here's an interview we featured in part a few years ago, but here's the entire interview. Peter Cetera was with Chicago from 1967 to 1985. His second solo album that blew him up all over the world as a solo artist was Solitude Solitaire. But with Chicago, he sang Wishing You Were Here, If You Leave Me Now, 25 or 624, Feeling Stronger Every Day, I've Been Searching So Long, Baby What a Big Surprise, Hard Habit to Break, and You're the Inspiration. And that's just to name a few. The first Chicago album without Peter Cetera and featuring Jason Scheff as his replacement was called Chicago 18. In this clip, he talks about what he felt about that album. That and a lot more with Steve Burgess, Peter Cetera from 1986 on Rock History Book.
All right, and we're rolling. So, I guess the first thing to ask is, you've got 2 albums under your belt now. How about tour plans? Any of those?
No, I think I'm going to wait one more album and get that out of my system, and then I'll have, you know, a dearth of material to choose from.
Uh-huh. And so for the time being, it's just a studio project. How did you put the album together? Where'd you start recording it?
Well, we basically did it in California, and kind of wrote it all over the place, and kind of went in California in 3 or 4 different studios, and you know, did a little bit here, a little bit there.
How long did it take you?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of a hard question. I mean, if you probably say from the first time I sat down to write a song for it until the day it came out, I would say probably a year and a half. You know, it's not straight work. You know, we took the time off here and there and did this and did that. You know.
Mm-hmm. One thing that interested me about the album is the fact that you decided to use producer Michael Amarnian.
Yes.
As opposed to David Foster, whom you had worked with before. Was that a question of just availability or wanting to do something different?
I just wanted to do something different. I thought it was time to kind of move on, and he he wanted to work with Chicago, and you know, I think it was better off for the both of us.
And why Michael Amarnian?
Well, I like to work with people that are talented, and you know, along with David, you know, Michael's one of the giants in the business, and you know, I admired his work, and we get along very well.
As for David Foster, though, you still do have a Foster connection on this LP.
Yeah, outside of he was one of the writers on Glory of Love, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also credited. I've been looking around for the name of whoever Dee Nini is.
That's my wife.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, and is that her maiden name?
Yeah.
And her first name, D, stands for what?
Diane.
Diane Nini.
Yeah, she helped with the words on Glory of Love.
Mm-hmm. That's, I guess, a good place to start in terms of talking about the songs. When did you guys write that? Were you all together at the same time, or did it come in bits and pieces?
Actually, David and I had messed around with kind of the chord changes, and then I totally forgot about it. And then months later, one day, the Karate Kid people came to me and asked me to write a song for the movie, and they showed me the movie, and I kind of resurrected these chord changes, and we kind of added a few things here and there to it, and then I wrote the melody and the words for it.
How long ago was that?
Jeez, I don't even know. I'm not a time framer. Sometime in I have no idea. February, March. I don't really remember.
Was that your first? I guess with Chicago, you did have an experience in doing soundtrack work. Is that something that you like to do? Something you'd like to do more of in the future?
Well, Chicago really never had experience with soundtrack work. We had a song in a movie, Hard to Say I'm Sorry, was taken to be used in a movie. You know, one of the other ways to do it, where they already take a song that's already done and put it in the movie. But they totally butchered the song, and the movie was just terrible, you know.
Yeah, there is that.
That too.
Did you, were you a little bit then hesitant? How much did you know about the Karate Kid 2 before you did the song for it?
Well, I went to see the movie. They show you, rushes of the movie and where they think they want the songs at and everything.
And so you did have a good idea that it was going to be a quality project.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you like writing tailor-made songs for movies? Is it more difficult for you?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's easier because you have the opportunity to know what it's supposed to be about rather than sitting there waiting and trying to think up something. And Karate Kid, they happen to mention honor 3 or 4 times in about a 1 30-second sequel, and that kind of stuck with me. And then the knights in shining armor, that was always something that I was always dying to use in a song, and it all kind of fit together for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Almost looks, as a matter of fact, like they wrote the movie for the song,
I heard a comment from you that you said that as successful as the song was, you were almost thinking it might be even more successful than it was.
No, I don't think I ever said that.
Oh, there was. I think it was sort of a lighthearted comment. It was. You were saying that you were a bit disappointed when it came down from #1.
Oh well, of course, yeah. You always think that the song is gonna stay up there forever, and of course you're always disappointed when it comes down from 1, yeah.
Yeah, but quite a way to get the solo career off to a start, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty exciting for me. I'm just getting ready to go over to Europe now, where the song has been #1 in Sweden, and the album is actually doing, its best showing over there so far, and so I'm going to go over there and do some press and everything over there.
I do a feature on the British charts every Tuesday night, and according to the charts I get, the BBC chart, you're #3 in Britain right now and climbing.
That's right.
Yeah. So
pretty exciting because the song went to 5, and then it stayed at #5, and then I thought, well, that was it. Once it stays at 5 for 2 weeks, and then it went up, and I was surprised.
As a matter of fact, I was shocked to see that too when it stalled at 5. I thought, yeah, we'll see it drop now, but no. Speaking of movies, as we were a moment ago, I heard a report, this is quite a while ago now, that you were taking some acting lessons. Is that true?
Yeah, I basically did that to help out doing the videos, I thought that would help out my video thing, and, in the process of seeing what else I would get in the, in the process of that, and, see if something comes along the pike in acting.
Did you find it fulfilling? Did you think that this was something you could take to easily?
Yeah, I think so. I think, there's a little ham in me. A lot of ham in me, actually.
And it came out.
Yeah.
Your next single, already charting, features Amy Grant. Was she someone that you'd wanted to work with for a long time?
Well, actually, no. I was actually trying to look for kind of an unknown singer, somebody that wasn't known, and in the process of doing that, somebody from the record company had mentioned 3 or 4 other people, and Amy Grant was one of those mentioned, and she was exactly what I was looking for. Such a left field choice like that, who just happens to be beautiful and a great singer and a good person. So when you put those combinations together, I'm just so happy I did it, and the video's coming out, and it's just the most sensuous, beautiful video you'll ever see. And
you filmed that together, did you?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. I take it she was easy to work with.
She was real easy to work with. It's nice to see that there's still those kind of people in this business,
We're playing another track on the album called "Wake Up to Love."
Good choice.
Yeah. Do you expect that'll maybe be a single sometime down the road?
As a matter of fact, that was my choice all along. Was always "Wake Up to Love," and then with the "Glory of Love" came from the movie, and it was just that sort of took care of itself, and then of course the Next Time I Fall kind of happened, and so now I hope "Wake Up to Love" will be the next single.
You got to work with Ray Parker Jr. on that one.
Yeah, that was kind of a lot of fun. We went to his studio, and we just had a ball with that one.
Mm-hmm. who got the original idea for the song? You co-wrote it with Michael Amardian and another person.
Hawk. Well, actually, what had happened was Hawk Walensky and I had worked on that song about a year ago, and then when I started doing the album, I brought it up, and Michael and I kind of updated the, wrote kind of a new B section, and then I went and finished the melody and the words on it, and came up with that song.
Mm-hmm. Any other ideas about what might be possible singles aside from the ones we've mentioned?
Well, I think possibly Big Mistake might be, as well as They Don't Make 'Em Like They Used To in the U.S. I think that's a possibility down there because of the, USA connotations. And, kind of picking singles is something that's, I just assume let the, record stations and the people do, I think they have a better kind of, shot at letting you know what's happening,
Okay, then from a personal standpoint, then what would be one of your favorites aside from the few that we've mentioned so far?
Well, that's kind of an unfair question because I don't have an answer for that. They're, all those songs are my babies, and I love them all.
I heard one songwriter once say that your favorite song is the last one you wrote.
Actually, my favorite song is the next one I write.
Kind of a variation, yeah, the same thing. I guess the next thing to talk about here, well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, do you have any ideas about why it is that this album is doing so incredibly well, and it's your second LP, and the first one didn't make quite so much noise?
Well, that's strictly that was a record company decision on that. At that point that I brought that album out, they made it very clear that in no specific terms did they want me leaving the group. And I, with using not a very smart way to go, had said that if I had a hit with the solo album, I was going to leave the group. And of course, once they heard that, they automatically took my album and filed it in the back burner. So I never really got any help with that album. And unless the record company is behind you like they are now with the new album, you're just not going to have a hit album. And that album never got. It's funny because I had in the States I had in album-orientated rock. I still have the Billboard "We're Living in the Limelight," which was my single from that album, was #1 on and the album was #7 on album-orientated rock radio. Well, what that meant was that I had record radio hits, but not sales, and that was just dumped by the record company. That's all.
Yeah, that's you can see how that would happen. It wasn't. You put them in a position where it wasn't really in their best interest to promote the record.
No, they did not want me to leave.
So obviously the split with Chicago was something that you had in mind for quite a while.
Yeah, and even before that album, I'd always harbored thoughts. I just, sometimes you just don't know how to go about doing things. You let friendship stand in the way, and I guess rightly so. When you work together with for so long, it's kind of hard to actually make that break, and it just. Finally, it finally came to a point where, they wanted one thing and I wanted, something else, and we just went, get out of here. So, sometimes it works.
Can you summarize the reasons for the split?
Well, basically, I just, I felt it was time that I was given more recognition for the work that I did do with the group. Production-wise, point-wise, how much money I was making from an album, co-production credits, because I was doing all that work, but I wasn't getting recognized for it, nor the credit. And the group basically didn't want to give me the credit, And I felt that was kind of selfish. So I was doing the majority of the writing and the singing and the work and everything. And I felt kind of at that point, they kind of made me an ultimatum about going on the road, and I didn't want to go on the road. I wanted to do albums, and we both came to the conclusion that maybe it was time for us to go our separate ways.
So it was a mutual thing?
Yeah, it was a mutual thing. They wanted to tour, and I wanted to do a solo album, so it was kind of the way it went.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, when I first heard your lead-off single and everything, the thing that I have to say did puzzle me a little bit was I thought, okay, now you helped to create a trademark sound with Chicago. Certainly your vocal style was always very recognizable with Chicago, and Glory of Love did have that same trademark sound, and so I thought, okay, now why did he feel that he had to leave Chicago to make records that have basically the same sound?
That's what you felt, huh?
Well, I thought so, yeah, when I first heard it.
Did you listen to the rest of the album?
No, this was when the single first came out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, when you... That's my sound. Why would I not take that with me? I mean, why would I leave something that is so great like that and just leave it? I mean, that's me, you know. That's like, you know, saying, well, I'm going on my own, but even though I do this so well, I'm not going to do that anymore. You know, I mean, I take with me what is mine, and that's, you know, on the contrary, people should have said, oh my God, look at Glory of Love. Well, that's you, isn't it? That's not, nobody else had anything to do with that. I mean, it's not Chicago, not David Foster or anything. That's you know, a Peter Cetera trademark. And then once into the album, you know, you would have seen that, you know, there's a little bit, you know, there's a harder, you know, raw rock and roll stuff on the album also. It just so happens, you know, when you have hits with ballads like I've had, you know, people tend to think that that's all you do, you know, as opposed to, you know, when you listen to the album, you realize that there's more than just two ballads on it, you know.
Yeah, and once, of course, the album comes out, and you hear something like "Solitude Solitaire," you realize that there's a difference there. And I guess
exactly.
I suppose the better way to phrase it, I guess what I was really curious about, and the fact, you know, you've explained earlier in the conversation, is I guess I wondered why you couldn't still do those songs with that trademark style that, as you say, is your style, with Chicago. And I guess, you know, you already covered that ground.
Yes, because I wanted to do it with myself. I wanted people to know that that was me. That wasn't Chicago. That wasn't David Foster. That wasn't anybody else. That was Peter Cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And if I continued doing those songs with Chicago, they would never know that, would they?
Yeah. It's actually a little bit comparable when Donald Fagen put out that solo album.
Yeah, you know, I think there comes a time there came a time in my life when I just went, hey, listen, I've been doing this for so long, and nobody knows that I do this. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody knew that I, Peter Cetera, did this? And when that song came out, you know, I told somebody else the story before that I live up in Idaho in the local radio station, and I heard this because I was up there when the single came out. They played "Glory of Love," and they said, and that's the new single by Chicago. And some friends of mine said, would you call those dinks up and tell them that? I said, no. It'll. By the second week, they said, and that was the new single by Pete Satori. And my friend said, would you call those jerks up and tell them that you... I said, no. Third week, it was, that's the new single by Pete Cetera. Finally, by the fourth week, they said, and that's the new single by Peter Cetera on his Solitude Solitaire. So I just think that's basically, you know, in a nutshell, what I'm kind of fighting, you know, is like getting people to know, you know who I am, what I sound like, and what I do, and kind of some, you know, I mean, I just happen to write great love songs, you know, and there's nothing to be ashamed of, and if it sounds like somebody else, it sounds like me.
Did they know that you lived around there? The radio station up there?
I don't know if they knew that or not. I don't really know.
Because, you know, if that's...
I mean, you know, I wasn't about to go and say, yes, my name is Peter Cetera, and I'm a local here. You know, so I just, you know, people were calling up for me, and it was quite funny.
Yeah, they would have hung up on you anyway, you know.
Yeah,
right.
I'm sure they would have. Right.
I'm Napoleon. You're Peter Cetera.
That's right. You're Peter Cetera. Right. Casey Kasem. Goodbye.
Are you still have? Are you still in contact with the members of Chicago these days?
No, not really. They're kind of busy doing, during their album and getting ready to go on the road. And I'm, I live a different life. I don't live near them, nor running in the same circles anymore. And it's just, in time we'll see each other and we'll go, how you doing, and how's your hits, and I'll see you on down the road.
Have you heard that the new single they've got out?
Yes, I have.
Surprised, pleased, displeased, what?
Surprised. Surprised. Neither pleased nor displeased. I think it sounds very good. I've also heard the album, which I think is very good. It's not the song that I would have thought they would have. I have no idea why they picked that one. I'm sure they have some very strong reasons for it. But there's 3 or 4 other things on there that I think are going to be real big hits for them. So hey, it was their choice, and whatever it is, it's a good album.
I think it's unusual they picked that one because I just wonder if it's ever going to actually supplant the original.
Well, I don't think. I don't have any idea. I don't think so, because it's just people have that locked in their head. They just have that locked in their head that, hey, what are they trying to do? It's ruining one of those old songs.
Yeah.
But I guess they were trying to establish, that, they're the new Chicago now, and that's fine. It's their choice. But there's a song on there called Niagara Falls that I think is a hit. There's a song called I Believe. I think it's a hit, and so there's a couple other things on there too.
Can we go back, if you don't mind, and do a capsule recapitulation of how you joined the band, how the band came together?
Actually, I would rather not, because it's a long, boring story, and I've been through it too many times.
Okay, then maybe
to say that we were basically in different lounge groups that just kind of got together in Chicago, and we kind of picked this guy for that reason and this guy for that reason, and next thing you know, we were heading out to California, and it kind of all started from for us out there.
Do you have any favorite moments, any favorite songs that you're proudest of?
Yeah, I think probably "If You Leave Me Now" was one of them, and that was because that was our first #1 song in the world, and I'm proud of that song. "Hard to Say I'm Sorry" is kind of another milestone, because that was kind of like our comeback, let's say. "Stay the Night" I think I'm very proud of, because that was a total, nobody expected that song to come from Chicago, and I think the video was wonderful on that. So there are songs like that are different milestones that I kind of judge the whole thing on.
Did the success of "If You Leave Me Now" change your standing in the group at all?
It changed just a little bit, yeah. I sort of made my bones, so to speak, with some of the other guys who didn't. It's kind of tough in a group when somebody gets a foothold. They don't want to let somebody else in on it, and that was kind of let me get in on the writing. Okay, he wrote a hit song. All right, I guess he can write other songs now. So yeah, that was kind of that helped out a lot.
I would have to think that maybe "Hard to Say I'm Sorry" would be one of the sweetest successes, because a lot of people had just written you guys off at that point.
That's exactly right. That one came along when, that's the kind of thing, that's what makes you feel vindictive, I mean, you just want to take some fresh melon and just wipe it in the face of those critics, that just, totally wrote us off, The fact of the matter is, they were right, and we weren't really paying attention to what we were doing, and so it took an enormous shake-up to get us back on top, and that song was definitely kind of vindicated us.
Is it true that you had some songs written for the album, and David Foster sort of told you guys to go back to the drawing board?
Well, not myself, no. At that point, I was totally disgusted with the whole thing. The other guys had a bunch of songs, and they, which he totally poo-pooed. I had not written anything. I just kind of waited until he got there, and then him and I just, got to work at that point.
Mm-hmm. I've got a request program that I do every night, And years after its release, I've got still a number of requests written down tonight for You're the Inspiration. That has been one of the longest lasting request items.
Well, that makes me happy to hear.
It's one that it was when it first came out as a single. It was the first one we started playing from the album, and we got floods of requests for it, and they still come in today. Is that one that is one of your favorites?
Oh yeah. You're the Inspiration is definitely. You know, it's when a song means something to me as a songwriter, I just think it means a lot to somebody else because it's basic feelings. You know, it's kind of saying something to somebody else that you don't really know how to say it, and when you hear a song that, hey, you know what? That's exactly the way I feel about you. You know, I mean, you know, that means a lot to me when people say that.
Do you have to have some kind of personal inspiration? Do you write a song, or can you try and put yourself in somebody else's shoes?
I can also do that. A couple of songs on the new album are about, you know, totally about other people. You know, Big Mistake was just something I, you know, wrote about a fictional character, but I also, you know, wrote it about, you know, women's feelings, you know, of kind of meeting that guy that they hope is Mr. Right, even though they know he's not. And Queen of the Masquerade Ball is a song that I wrote about a girl I know who has a high position in business. So yeah, you know, you kind of write songs from all different areas.
Yeah. How about your future plans? I don't know how much you know time you've got here. I'm taking you overtime here.
Yeah, well, we're kind of running, but go ahead. Future plans, you know, like I said, I've just begun kind of tentative work on the next album already. You know, I know it seems early and everything, but these things take a lot of time, and I'm a slow worker. You know, I don't just sit there and knock them off. So I'm gonna, you know, begin this. I go to Europe tomorrow. The song is you know, in the top 10 over there, like you know, like you've said. So I'm gonna continue to do press, and after I get back from Europe, I'm gonna go up to Idaho and sleep for about 3 weeks.
I'll be letting you go here. I just want to ask here, Kenny Cetera, is he your little brother, your big brother, or what? He's
my little brother. I have 3 brothers, and he's the youngest.
And is he just getting started in the music business?
Well, he's kind of been kicking around. You know, I've been trying to help him here and there, and you know, I used him on my album.
He doesn't have a band or anything, does he?
No, he doesn't have a band yet, but he's trying to put one together.
Well, good luck to him.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you join our mailing list. You'll get access to all our videos. For whatever reason, YouTube is not letting all our subscribers know when we're releasing new videos. So we're losing a lot of hits. But more importantly, if you want to watch all our videos, at least have access to all of them, join our mailing list. The link is at the very top of the description, where you'll get no more than 2 emails a week with the links and the titles of our videos. That is it. Join up in the description of this video. I'm John Bowden. Take care. This is Rock History.